Here is the number most people never say out loud. What they think they are worth at work. Not what their contract says, what they actually believe they bring to the table, and whether that number matches what they are being paid. For most people, it does not match, and they know it, but they say nothing. They wait. They tell themselves they will ask after the next project, after the next review cycle, after they feel more ready. Then they get the same number again. So today, I want to show you how to have the raise conversation in English, confidently, without sounding desperate, and without waiting for permission. 3 moves, 1 conversation. By the end of this, you will know exactly what to say and when. The first thing you need to change is how you think about this conversation. Most people walk in with this mindset. This is a negotiation. I want more money, they want to pay less, we will land somewhere in the middle. But that framing puts you and your manager on opposite sides, and it makes the whole thing feel like a confrontation. Here is what actually works. A raise conversation is not a negotiation. It is a presentation. You are not arguing for your feelings, you are presenting a business case. Return on investment. Here is what I have delivered, here is what the market says, here is what I am asking for. That single shift from personal plea to business case changes the entire dynamic. You stop hoping they agree with you, they start evaluating your evidence. And that means your job, before you walk into that room, is to build that case. 3 categories. This is the first move. Build. First, your impact. Not your effort, your impact. There is a big difference. Effort is, I have been working really hard. Impact is, I led the migration that reduced processing time by 40%. Effort is invisible to anyone who is not watching. Impact is a number they can take to their manager. Go back through the last 6 months. Find 3 moments where your work changed something. A cost reduced, a process improved, a project delivered on time, a client problem solved before it escalated. Write them down. Put numbers on them if you can. Even rough numbers, saved about 3 hours per week for the team, are better than nothing. What you are building is a short evidence file, not a performance review essay. Second, your scope. Ask yourself honestly, has your role grown since your salary was last set? Are you managing more people, owning more decisions, covering responsibilities that were never in your original job description? Growth without a pay adjustment is a gap in the contract. It is not a complaint, it is just a fact. Name it. Third, market data. This is the category most people skip, and it does the most work in the room. Go to LinkedIn Salary, Glassdoor, or the equivalent in your market. Find the range for your role, your city, your years of experience. If you are below the median, that is not a personal grievance. It is data, presented as data. Build those 3 things before you book the meeting, because the conversation does not start when you sit down. It starts 3 weeks earlier when you decide to come prepared. But knowing your evidence is only half of it, because the moment most people dread is not the preparation, it is the room itself. What do you actually say? This is the second move, ask, and I am going to give you the exact phrases.
I'd like to talk about my compensation. I've been thinking carefully about this, and I want to walk you through my thinking. That is it. Clear, calm. You are not asking permission to have the conversation, you are having it. Then back it with your case. Keep this to 3 sentences. Over the last 6 months, your impact point. I've also taken on your scope edition. And based on what I can see in the market for this role and level, the range is typically range. I'm currently below that.
1 specific impact, 1 scope point, 1 market reference. Do not list everything you have done in the last 2 years. 3 strong points outperform 10 weak ones. Every extra point you add is an invitation to argue the weakest one. Then land the number. Based on all of that, I'd like to move to number. Say 1 number, not a range. A range tells them to go to the bottom of it. 1 number, then stop talking. This is the moment almost everyone gets wrong. The silence after naming your number is unbearable. People fill it immediately. They start explaining more, softening it, walking it back before anyone has said anything. Do not. Say the number and sit with the silence. The next person to speak should be your manager. If they say not now, do not accept "we'll revisit it" as a close. Ask 1 question. What would need to be true for this to happen?
That question turns a no into a roadmap. Get the answer in writing after the meeting. Actually, before the third move, I want to pause here for a second. If this is useful, if you are going to take any of this into a real conversation, I would genuinely appreciate a like on this video. The research, the scripting, the visuals, there is a real person behind all of it. And if you are not subscribed yet, now is a good moment. All right, the third move is about timing.
The worst time to ask for a raise is during your annual review. I know that sounds backwards, but by the time your formal review happens, the number's already decided. Budgets are locked weeks earlier. Your manager is delivering a decision made in a calibration session you were not in. You are negotiating against a signed document. The best window is 2 to 4 weeks before review season opens. Book a separate meeting for this, not your regular one-on-one, not a hallway conversation, a proper calendar invite. The subject line, wanted to connect on my role and compensation. That signals seriousness. It gives your manager time to think before you are in the room. One more timing rule. Do not ask on a bad day. Not when your manager is behind on a deadline. Not right after a difficult project review. Wait for a neutral week. A recent win helps. The start of a new quarter is usually clean. You want them in the right state to actually hear you. This is the third move. Time. And here is the step almost no one takes after the conversation, even when it goes well. Send a short follow-up email. Thanks for making time. Just to confirm what we discussed. Summary of next step or agreement. Looking forward to it. One paragraph. It creates a record. It keeps the commitment alive. And it tells your manager you are serious enough to follow through. People who close with a written summary almost always get an answer faster than people who walk out and wait. So the 3 moves. Build the case, have the ask, choose the time, and confirm it in writing after. Here is what I want you to do right now. Not next quarter, not at your next review. Today. Open a document and write down your 3 impact points. Just those 3. You do not need the rest yet, but start the list. Because the raise conversation you have been putting off is not protecting your relationship with your manager. It is just making you easier to undervalue. You have the language now. What is the part that scares you most? Building the case, saying the number, or sitting with the silence after? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. And if you want to keep building this muscle, there is more on the channel about navigating the hard conversations at work in English. Go take a look.